what is there on the object, we see, okay, don't think that you're a philosopher now. Look at this object. Okay, group B, group A, both. Right? Not through electron microscope, through naked eyes. What do you see? Flower. And how do you see this flower? Flower, like a dream, your mind is creating it, or not like a dream, it's so real there. How do you see this? Real. So real there, so real there. This is known as seeing the flower as objectively real, and that is deceptive. That is deceptive. That perception, that belief is the one which creates all our problems: sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish. All these problems are created by this belief. It's a belief, it's not the truth. Right? Okay, now the point is, how can we say that this is a belief, this is not a truth? For that matter, we need to know that things can exist by the power of the subjectivity, by the power of the mind. Okay, so looking at the same object through your naked eyes, you see this is what not water, as a flower. Looking at from the electron microscope, you see this as a empty of flower. Getting it? Empty of flower. Okay. Then I ask you why the same. Which of the two perceptions is correct? You said both are correct. Then my next question is, how come that two opposite perceptions take place with respect to the same object, yet both perceptions are correct? My question to you. Then you said that if it is purely object, two opposite perceptions cannot happen. If happen, one is wrong, or both wrong. Both cannot be correct. Whereas if you say both are correct, means both are purely subjective. Two different subjects can be no problem. Two different perceptions, there's no problem. To say that I see this as a flower, I see that as a flower, there's no problem. For example, say, Inbal, your mother's name?
Rachel.
Rachel, right? Rachel looks at Imbal as a daughter, and Imbal's daughter looks at Imbal as a mother. You agree with me or not? Yes. Right? Both Imbal's mother and Imbal's daughter, both of them are looking at Imbal, the same person, but two of them see two different things. One is a daughter, one is a mother. Two different things. So, these two different perceptions, why two different perceptions taking place, is all because of who you are, what you are, the subject. It's not 100% from the object, it's from the subject. From the subject, right? If you are Imbal's mother, you will see Imbal as the daughter. If you are Imbal's daughter, you will see Imbal as the mother. You're getting it? So it's a subject. Likewise, when we said that the subject, for example, say, for all of us, if I see that, oh, Imbal, right? It's not my mother, it's not my daughter. So whereas if I say Imbal, oh, I'm seeing her as a mother, right? Everybody should be seeing her as their mother, because irrespective of me, still I see her as mother, and if that is correct, everybody should be seeing her as mother, right? Whereas her daughter sees her as the mother, not as daughter, but her mother sees her as the daughter, not as mother. So that is purely subjective. Purely subjective. Likewise, say, seeing the same object with the naked eyes as a flower, with the electron microscope as a emptiness of flower. You're getting it? These two, no doubt, these are two opposite perceptions taking place on the same object by two different perceptions. So the object will not be biased. Object cannot be biased. Oh, group A, now group A is looking at me, I should say this is a flower. Oh, now group B is turn, I'll hide the flower and I'll show the emptiness of the flower. No, object, there's no bias. Object is the same. But what is the difference? Perception is different. Perception is subjective or objective? Subjective. So therefore what you're seeing is purely subjective. Now, within the subject there are two categories. One which is known as the ultimate analysis, and the other one is known as the conventional analysis. The subjects, there are two. Conventional analysis and the ultimate analysis. So group A perception is closer towards the florist, the people who florist, yeah. Say group A's thinking or the perception is closer towards the florist, or group B's perception is closer towards the florist. Group A. So group A's one is closer to the convention of the florist. It is known as the convention analysis. And group B's perception of the same object is the ultimate analysis. You getting it? So all our perceptions, accurate, valid perceptions, valid thinking, valid minds can be classified in two groups. One is conventional analysis and the other one is ultimate analysis. So when you say that what are you doing again? Doing water, this is conventional. You are doing electrons, protons, neutrons, this is ultimate analysis. You're getting it? Okay, now this requires fine-tuning. This is a very generic understanding of the all perceptions, while what the object is depends on the subjectivity, subjective mind. And subjective mind, there are two kinds. One is ultimate analysis and one is conventional analysis. You're getting it? Okay. So tomorrow morning people do the linking, the four mindfulnesses with the four seals, right? And then the remaining two sessions will dedicate on emptiness, right? Okay, any questions before we wind up? We have 9 minutes. Yes? Nicole?
You were talking about the self as something that does exist, right? And doesn't have an end, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, when you say about the self, you say about the self, not self, the conception of self, because the conception of me, when this body is finished, maybe I will be born as an amoeba and I will have no conception of self.
Okay, say a self exists, say, okay, say, when, what's the question? Okay, the question is, the self is the one which is impermanent, yet it exists endlessly. Even after that, it continues, it exists endlessly. If it exists endlessly, the question is, when somebody dies and took birth as, say, the amoeba or jellyfish or whatever, right? Say any form, who cannot have a sophisticated conceptual thoughts, right? Which does not have sophisticated conceptual thoughts. So then this tiny animal does not have the sense of I. Or let's say the I am this, I'm amoeba, I'm this, and so forth. This doesn't have this kind of conceptualization. So in which case, the conception of the self stops there. So how can the self continues? Okay, self and the conception of the self, there's a difference. When I sleep, when I go into deep sleep, the self is there, but the conception of self stops in me. Because I cannot think of when my mind goes into coma, right? I'm still there, but the conception of self within me stops. Conception, anything stops within me. So this is distinction that we need to make between conception of self and the self. The self continues endlessly.
So the self is the mind stream?
Okay, what is self? What is self? This is the question, right? Self, is it the mind stream? Okay. Okay, how many petals are there? Let's say there are 50 petals. There are 50 petals there. Which is the flower? The first petal? No. Second petal?
No.
No. Which is the flower?
Cannot find.
If you go like this, you will not find the flower because you go into the ultimate analysis. When you go into ultimate analysis, you will never find the object. You getting it? So when you say the mind is the self, the body is the self, you go like this, you will not find the self. Self does exist. How? Here's Mikal. Where's Mikal? Where's Mikal? Okay, you see her? Now don't analyze more. Stop there. Stop there. That's Mikal. Right? That's Mikal. Stop there. This is known as conventional analysis. The moment you go beyond this, you go into ultimate analysis. With ultimate analysis, you will never find Mikal.
And what about the self of the Buddha?
Same?
So there is the Buddha as only self.
Yes. Okay, any more questions?
I have more. If no, there is-
Here?
You were talking about afflictions of the body and afflictions of feelings. That you gave the idea that if you eat, for instance, a cheesecake, you're not really. It's not the cheesecake itself, but rather the feelings that are reacting to whatever. What about mind-altering substances? For instance, if you eat, for instance, chocolate, there's something that reacts biologically and makes you feel differently. Or if you take psychoactive drugs, they implicate the mind. So is there anything that is still the object and not just the feeling?
Okay. Say it is the same. What do you call it? The drugs, what do you call this drug?
Psychoactive.
Psychoactive
Active.
drugs. Let's say psychoactive drugs. It's the same, right? Psychoactive drugs, same. The first dose, you are very fresh. You just take a very tiny dose, it will affect you, right? And after taking this for some time, for like 2 years, you take the first dose, which just throw you into, what do you call it? Nirvana, right? It will have no effect on you. It will not affect on you. You have to take more dose, a stronger dose. You getting it? Stronger dose. It's not purely object. Something inside that needs to be triggered.
Yeah, but I think that like some objects have different implications. Like if you eat, I don't know, a piece of bread, it's not the same as if you eat.
If you eat chili, it burns you, it not give you pleasant feeling. If you eat chocolate, it give you a pleasant feeling. If you eat chocolate, right, 10 kg of chocolate, it will throw you up. Right? It's the same chocolate, but it will throw you up. It will not give you a pleasant feeling. Same object. It will not give you the... And then if you eat chocolate, 20 kg, it will kill you. Right? It will not give you joy. So the point is that there is a very subtle explanation, subtle in the relationship between the gross object there, your body, your sense power, and your mind. They are very closely connected, right? They are very closely connected. So finally what is activated is this mind, which gives you the feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, fullness, overfullness, and so forth, right? It's the mind. So that is being triggered. So the whole purpose of meditation is independent of these external psychoactive drugs, chocolates, and so forth. Still, how to activate this happiness inside. This is training, right? Without having to depend on external factors. Okay.
A question about something you said earlier in the morning about meditating with open eyes. You said that meditating with closed eyes can be harmful.
Yes, okay. In what way is harmful? Because you asked me, I'll give the answer. Why meditation with eyes closed is harmful? Right? Okay. When we fall asleep, how do you fall asleep? With eyes closed or with the eyes open? With eyes closed, right? The moment we keep our eyes closed, dullness sinks in. Dullness sinks in. Be it subtle or the gross sinks in. Right? And the purpose of meditation is to make your mind very bright, not dull. Very bright and active. So, if you start with the eyes closed, then the dullness sinks in, and the dullness, there are two, the gross and the subtle. At a certain point, you may be able to get rid of the gross dullness, but the subtle dullness will still grab at you, and then it will not release you, subtle dull. by the subtle darkness. And this subtle darkness will stop you. So with the subtle darkness, your meditation will progress to some extent. And then it will go flat, then it will go down with the subtle darkness. Finally, the most refined version of the meditation, or the mundane sense, is where the darkness should be zero and mental excitement should be zero. Right? So therefore, closing eyes will give rise to the mental dullness, sinking. And this is very experiential.
You said before that the flower that's from illusion, that we imagination, is not under the power of the condition of cause and effect, and the other ones that real is dependent on cause and effect. And I don't understand it, because what I feel that both of them are on relationship on cause and effect, because even the one that you imagine, you have still a mental cause and effect of what you imagine and what you're like, which kind of flower you imagine, and you can stop to imagine it. So
Okay,
maybe
do
I
you
didn't
follow the
understand.
question?
Maybe I didn't understand.
Do you follow the question? The question is very good. Say we talk about the real flower and the imaginary flower. Real flower is both are subjectively imputed,
Yes.
whereas one follows cause-effect relationship and the other doesn't follow cause-effect relationship. So Inbal's question is that even with the imaginary, it has to follow cause-effect relationship, because this is what your mind is creating it, and your mind has to follow cause-effect relationship.
Yes.
Okay, this is a very good point. Anyone who likes to help me? Yes.
The flower in the mind, you didn't have to put a seed in the ground to get the flower that you imagine. The other flower, you put the seed in the ground and it grows up. So
Okay, so this flower, unless the seed was planted on the ground, this flower cannot come out. Whereas the imaginary flower, even without seed, you can imagine. Right? But what Inbal's question is that, say it is mental, imaginary flower is mental, and mental has to work on the basis of the factors, right? When you are in deep sleep, you cannot think about the imaginary flower, right? Why you are able to think of imaginary flower now is because you are not deep sleep. It depends on many other factors. There's a cause-effect operation still happening there. So how can you say that imaginary flower doesn't follow cause-effect relationship? This question. Leora?
I think the imaginary flower is a permanent phenomenon. It doesn't mean eternal. It has a reason for rising and it will stop one day. So it has a reason for start and end. But it's not the same like cause and effect changing one way by depending on the process and conditions. So this is different.
Okay, so finally the answer that we give, Inbal should be happy. Right? Yes, here.
Because
Yes,
also
yes.
your mind is
Yes,
changing
yes,
and,
yes.
And you can.
So what Inbal said, I already paraphrased this. Yes.
I think our imagination is beyond the cause and effect. We may create some another imaginary reality that obeys another laws, not like real laws.
Okay, now did you follow the question? This question must be followed first. So what Inbal is saying that the imaginary flower is not a flower. She's accepting that. It's not a flower, but it's something purely mental. So mental means, there's a cause-effect operation happening. You getting it? So therefore, how can you say this imaginary flower, which is mental, does not follow cause-effect? Okay, Shah.
I think that the imagined flower is not a thought so much as it is a mental image. And being a mental image, it can be a current phenomena. That means that it depends on maybe experience. It arises, but it will not be changing the moment as the mind is changing moment by moment. That means that the mental image and the mind itself are not the same.
Okay, this is a very good answer.
The fact that the perception is impermanent doesn't necessarily mean that the object must be impermanent too.
Okay, so there are two things. Close answers quite close.
It's a definition between the causal effect, inner causal effect, and the
Outer cause and effect.
imaginary, the inner causal effect is taking place.
Okay, so what Inbal is saying is more the inner cause and effect, mental, that is taking place. He admits that, right? And then if you combine your name, Ben, Shaham, Eric, three combined together, the answer is coming, to one point, which I will try to share with you a little later. Anyone else who has to? Anyone else? Okay. Yes, over there.
Do I have a question?
Yeah. Okay. Then we'll do this later. Okay. So what is being said here? Okay. Shaham, Aries, and the Ben. Three of you just see whether you agree with what I'm saying. What I'm trying to paraphrase. Right. Thing is, when I say the flower, I'm thinking. My mind thinking. My mind is the subject, and the flower is the object. Imaginary flower and the mind which thinks of the imaginary flower, two things. Imaginary flower is the object, and my mind which thinks is the subject. My mind which thinks the mind which thinks of the imaginary flower, this is impermanent phenomena. This follows cause effect. But we are talking not about the mind which thinks about the imaginary flower, we think about the imaginary flower.
Okay.
So imaginary flower is not a mind. So imaginary flower does not follow the cause and effect. It's the object.
It's the object. Yeah.
It's the object, not the subject. Right? What you're talking about is the subject. What Ben said is the internal cause effect. Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, there's yes over there. The question.
I'm thinking about the ultimate. You said the conventional ultimate. It sounds to me like there's an end to the word ultimate, and I can see what would be so as a conventional way of seeing or conventional analysis of physics. Okay, so it seems like there is no ultimate way.
Okay, this is a very good question. Very serious question. The question is, okay, let me paraphrase. Correct me if I'm wrong. The point is that when we divide the subject into two, ultimate analysis, conventional analysis, it is as though we're getting the impression that ultimate means it's the final beyond which we cannot go anywhere. But from what we're talking about, the ultimate analysis, subjecting the flower to the electron microscope, so there is more with the physics, look for the electrons, protons, and so forth. So we can still go beyond this. It's not ultimate. Is this a question?
It's also conventional.
It's still convention. It's still convention. This is a very good point. Extremely good point. Okay.
It's not conventional to say there is emptiness of cloud. It's conventional to say there is some material there and it's made of the neutrons and protons, but it's not conventional to say, oh, there is emptiness of cloud.
That's not what they saw. They saw protons and
Exactly. Okay. So the point is, your name? Anand. What Anand is saying is that from the point of view, you're looking at the same object, which group A sees as a flower, with they sees as a millions of atoms, electrons, protons, right? So, electrons, protons is also conventional, right? It's also conventional. So how can we say that this perception is the ultimate analysis, right? One. Now to make it more refined, how she is, your name? Gerel. How Gerel is presenting it is instead of looking at the flower through instead of looking at the same object in the form of the electron protons, you can look at it from the different angle, which is the emptiness of the flower. When you see the emptiness of the flower, that is not conventional. It is not conventional analysis. It is ultimate analysis. So therefore, it still remains as ultimate analysis. It is not conventional analysis. This is not conventional. To speak about electrons, protons, that no doubt is conventional. But to speak about the emptiness of the flower, it's not conventional. This is what the...
It's a hard way.
Huh? Yael. What Yael is saying, right? Okay. the point is, okay. The point is, seeing electrons, protons, group B, looking at through the same flower through the electron microscope, you're seeing electrons, protons, neutrons, so forth. No doubt you are seeing conventional truth. But you are seeing where's the flower? It's empty. That is the ultimate analysis. So the next question could be, why the absence of the flower from this analysis? With respect to this analysis, why this absence of the flower, emptiness of the flower, why do you call this ultimate? This is the question. You getting it? Okay. So who's going to volunteer to remind me tomorrow? Okay. Okay, raise your hands. Raise your hands. 1, 2, gentlemen over there, 3. It is. There's so many questions, right? Okay. So this question is a very good question, but 3 of them should remind me. Okay. Somebody's question?
I have a kind of historical question. Because nowadays it's very simple to realize like electromagnetic microscope and stuff like this. But I wonder how the Buddha tried to explain emptiness to his disciples in the world. The concept of atoms and stuff like that.
That's true. Wow. How the Buddha must have been doing this is the question, yes. Buddha, then Aranigarjuna, right? 2nd century, 1st century AD, no electron microscope. How they must have proven emptiness? This is a good question. Okay. Anyone who can help me? Anyone?
Maybe closer.
Huh?
He would put the flower very close to someone's eye. And that's like maybe harder.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, yes.
I think it all means that you look at the part of the things. You don't look at the whole thing, but you look at the part.
Okay, so it is not necessary to go into the atoms, right? You can go, say for example, your cell, your body, your mind. Within your body, you see your heart, lungs, and so forth. We see that none of these parts is you, right? For that, we don't need an electron microscope, right? We can do it on a grosser level. And of course, there is a very subtle analysis going about the subtle particles. All these debates are there, and of course we don't have time to go through these things. These very refined debates are going on. Whether or not the very subtle particle, extremely subtle particle, whether or not that is a partless particle. Does it or does it not have parts? All these questions of debates were going there since then, 2,000 years ago. Okay, any more questions?
Answer my question.
Which question?
About the self. If it is only conventional, then how come it has no end? How come it is eternal?
Okay, I don't want to use the word eternal, because eternal can be very misleading. Eternal can have the connotation of permanence, lasting forever, and permanent. Right? I don't want to use this word. I would say that this self will last forever. This self will last forever. Okay, say whether I conceptualize my body or not, when I go into deep sleep, I don't conceptualize my body, but I still have the body. Right? So likewise, my mind, whether I conceptualize my mind or not, I still have my mind. So this mind continues. And how it continues, for this again we have to do for the reasonings. It's not that I have to conceptualize this, therefore it continues. No, this is not the answer.
And it has an end. Like, for as long as there is a self, then there is a self. That's it. As long as there is a mind to conceptualize myself.
So therefore, not necessary. This is where, you are torturing yourself. Conceptualizing. The moment you say conceptualize, the moment you go into deep sleep, no conceptualization happens. So the self should stop. It doesn't stop. Right? Whether I believe, whether I conceptualize or not, the world continues. Even if I die, the world will continue. Right? My body will continue. Yeah.
It is not permanent. That's what I mean.
It is not permanent. It's impermanent, but will last forever. Okay. Any more questions? Yes.
I'm sorry that I'm going back to the flower.